I can't get good enough service to call for help. I'm really scared. My mom finally let me get a phone, and it's a dumbass flip phone. I can't make any calls to anyone but her, my dad, my sister, and 911. I'm making this post on my sister's phone, but it's really messed up from the crash. If anyone is traveling in East Tennessee, please help. There's something outside, and it's trying to get in. My sister has not come back. Something is moving around outside the car. I do not believe it's her outside. I'm all over the place. I can try to explain some, so if anyone can come get me, you'll know where to find me. We crashed somewhere in the valley, driving home. It started snowing earlier than expected. I was excited at first. I wanted the snow to stick, so I could stay out of school a few extra days after Christmas break was technically over. My sister had been speeding beforehand. It was past 11 p.m., and we still had 2 more hours to go on the drive until we made it home. When the snow started, she slowed down a lot. We didn't have a big car to really do well in this type of weather. I was messing with the radio, flipping through station after station for something I wanted to listen to. There was nothing good on. I was so bored. I tried reading in the car, but it just made me sick. I stared out the window for a while, but the growing collection of roadkill littering the side of the road was depressing me. I sighed heavily, causing my sister to glance in my direction, a frown on her face. "What are you sighing about?" "Nothing's on," I snapped, already feeling my body's nerves heighten in self-defense. She scoffed at me, but didn't say anything. I continued to grumble about it. "You didn't download any playlist on Spotify?" "I didn't think about losing reception," she said sharply. "You're lucky the radio is working this far out. Be grateful. Jesus. I just hope it stops snowing soon. I don't want to pull over." I rolled my eyes at the "be grateful" part. What did I have to be grateful for when she was bussing me between our 2 parents? I wanted to stay with my mom, but I didn't have a choice yet to say no to staying at my dad's every other weekend. Grace got to have a choice. She was 19 and going to UT in Knoxville. She didn't have to stay with Dad alone at home when he got drunk. She got to be somewhere else. I wish now I hadn't acted so snotty towards her before all this started. I didn't know it would be our last real moment together. Even though she slowed the car down, the road had started to ice long before it had began to snow. A cold snap was moving quickly through our area. As snow was growing heavier, she leaned forward more in her seat. She was squinting and sat in a hunched, shrimp-like manner, in an attempt to try to see the road more clearly. Grace reached over and shut the radio off, causing me to protest. I couldn't stand any type of silence. I was always listening to something. Hey! She didn't take her eyes off the road as she said, I need to focus. Hush. My face scrunched up in anger. I didn't like it when she did that. Grace was always talking down to me. I didn't want to sit in silence for 2 hours. So I pressed the button to turn the radio back on. Grace turned it off again. I turned it back on again. I couldn't help but laugh at how red her face got, like it always did when she was angry. I liked that I was getting under her skin, so I started messing with the volume as well. She took one hand off the wheel to punch me hard in the arm. Cam, you're going to kill us. Fucking stop. Grace laughed, but it had a hysterical edge to it that made me take her a little more seriously. I shouldn't be playing games like that on a dark, icy road. We were turning a corner on a curvy mountain road when a massive shape stumbled out of the trees suddenly. It moved clumsily and somewhat stiffly in an odd way. Grace jerked the wheel sharply to swerve, to avoid the hulking creature blocking the road. She was too late, and the left edge of the bumper rammed into the shadowy shape. Grace's arm came instinctively out in front of me as she lost control of the car, and the passenger side got scraped up on the side of some trees. My neck was screaming in pain. Luckily, I hadn't hit my head against the window when we spun. The airbag had gotten me good in the face, though. Felt like I had been punched square in the mouth. My glasses got knocked clean off. I could feel my lip quickly swelling and could taste blood. I felt like vomiting as my stomach muscles heaved in protest. Gracie? I called out, my voice breaking embarrassingly. I was afraid to turn my neck and hurt it worse. I felt her hands trembling like a moth's wing down my arm to squeeze my hand in reassurance. I felt relieved she was awake as well. Cameron, are you okay? Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Can you move? I shifted in my seat and wiggled my fingers and toes. It didn't feel like anything was broken. I think so. Okay. Move slow and try to unbuckle. She sounded so calm, despite the shaking. I felt around for my seatbelt buckle and released it. The car door made a crunching sound as I stepped out. That didn't seem good, I thought. Grace quickly moved to my side. A trickle of blood was flowing steadily down the side of her face. She pressed her cardigan sleeve to her temple and winced. I frowned at her, worried. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I'm okay. Heads bleed badly. I'm sure it looks worse than it is. I didn't believe her, but I didn't say anything. I think I was in shock. Definitely in a state of disbelief as I stared at the dark shape in the middle of the road. One of the headlights was completely smashed, and the other was flickering in and out. I gripped Gracie's hand tighter as she stepped towards the figure. The stench hit us first, a sweet undertone to a rotten musk that could turn your nose hairs gray. We both gagged at the smell. As we moved closer, I saw that the monstrous shape was actually a big male deer. One of his antlers was torn off and a blood chunk down the road. His breaths came out in sharp, harsh rasps that chilled me more than the snow soaking into my clothes. I could see now that his neck was turned completely in the opposite direction. I was amazed how its head still clung onto its body, and the large gashes littered across the deer's neck and body. How could the deer still be breathing with its body all twisted like that? I didn't understand how the car did so much damage like this to such a large creature. My eyes started to water at the smell, and I stepped back instinctively. I didn't want to be anywhere near that animal. Gracie didn't share the sentiment as her free hand twitched up and down as she debated on touching the deer. The more I looked at the deer, the more movement I began to see. It confused me. The fur was greasy and had a dark green tint to the coarse, tawny fur. It didn't look right, with all the blood mixed in it as well. Then I noticed something was moving underneath the skin of the deer, like watching a skipping stone send ripples on a calm lake as small wriggling creatures move throughout the deer's body, their fat black bodies pouring out from the open wounds on the animal. They mixed into the cooling blood, staining the snow black. I lurched forward and grabbed Grace. "Something's wrong with it!" I yelled, desperately yanking her back. She stumbled, but we both let out sharp gasps of horror as the body of the deer began to twitch. It lurched and made crunching noises as it attempted to stand on broken bones. The deer's legs were bent awkwardly and in different directions. It lurched towards us as we ran back to the car. Grace locked the door once we dove inside. Despite a cracked windshield and bent car doors, it felt a lot safer to be in the car than face that deer head on outside. It tumbled and fell 2 more times as it tried to crawl towards us. I don't think the deer was alive when we hit it. Grace tried her phone to reach 911, but there was no service. My phone had even worse luck as it wouldn't even ring. She tried multiple phone numbers on both our phones and couldn't reach a soul. The roads are dark, and there haven't been any passing cars or lights the whole time I've been stuck here. Grace stared at the deer, struggling to make its way toward the car. It wasn't moving fast. Each movement seemed to take a great deal of effort from the worms underneath its skin, from what I could see. She stared blankly down at our phones for a while before glancing up at me. She looked so scared that I teared up instinctively. Fear bloomed hot and cold inside my body at her stony expression. She pressed her phone into my hand. "Keep trying Mom and 911. I'm going to walk along the road and see if I can come across someone who can help. Or get a good enough reception to call an ambulance." "What about the deer? I don't want to be alone with it." She didn't say anything at first, just reached forward to hug me. I clung onto her tightly, tears streaming down my face like I was a 5-year-old resisting preschool again. "Don't worry about me. It can't move that fast. I'll draw it away so it can't get you. But why do you always have to argue with me, Cameron? Trust me, I'll be back soon. Make sure you turn the car off every once in a while to save gas. If you run out of gas, you'll get cold. Understand? I understand, I said, hiccuping through my tears. I love you. See you soon, alligator. I smiled without any humor. In a while, crocodile. Grace smiled and gripped my phone in her hand tightly. Lock the door. Don't follow me. You'll be safe here. Then she was gone. She disappeared like a ghost into the flurry of snow. I moved my seat so it laid down completely, so I could spy out the windows without the deer seeing me. Grace was right about luring the thing away. She sprinted past. Its fur rippled and its limbs twitched in her direction. I watched it for a while. After some time, I noticed the deer began moving even slower and slower. It was losing speed with every lurching step. I felt my shoulders relax as the deer's body seemed to finally lay still. I watched it for an extra 10 minutes before I moved to try to make more calls. When nothing happened, I switched to trying to flip through channels again. I wanted to distract myself until Grace got back. Before, the radio was playing all the normal country channels and late night church sermons. Now, just static played from every channel. I figured the snowstorm must have knocked out all communication if I couldn't get anything on the phone or the radio. It's been hours, and Grace is still not back. Her car is gonna run out of gas soon. Please, I just need someone to come help, or call the police for me. It's almost 2 a.m. I'm so cold. The snow is still piling on. I'm afraid I might be buried in it before anyone can find me. I'm scared for Grace. Why isn't she back yet? But I think I see a figure growing in the rear view mirror. I gasped and clambered into the back seat. I checked first on the deer, afraid it had come back to life again. It laid still on the road after it had finally stopped crawling after my sister. I was relieved when I saw it was Grace coming back. She must have gotten into contact with someone if she had taken so long to get back. I smiled and started to feel hope for the first time in hours. Then I noticed how Grace seemed to be limping closer to the car instead of walking. I watched in growing horror as her arms and legs twitched erratically. Each movement seemed forced and unnatural, puppeted by an unknown force. I sunk lower into the back seat. Her head jerked back and forth like she was searching for something. I scrambled for a way to hide myself in the back of her car. She usually kept trash bags in her backseat so she could keep her car clean. I ripped a few out and pulled them over me fast. I managed to peek out as she shuffled past the car without being seen. Her neck still swiveled back and forth, searching. Grace was close enough now I could see thousands of fat, squirming worms moving underneath her skin. just like the deer.